and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a new episode of today's Youth. And today we will be meeting with Sara Michel. She is a graduating student at one of the Canadian universities. She's studying international business. She's going to be telling us more about her studies, about her hobbies and interests. Thank you very much for joining us, Sara.
Thank you for having me again.
Sara, you're in the final year of international business.
Yes.
Tell me more, why did you choose international business in specific?
I feel like international business covers all the bases of what you need to know, like accounting and finance and marketing, but it does it more on a global scale so that you're able to kind of learn more about business around the world and not just where you're located. And I think that's really important, especially if you don't want to stay in one place and want to travel while you work.
Right, so you're planning to travel. You don't want to stay in one place.
No.
What are your plans then?
Well, honestly, I think I'm more of kind of going with the flow, so I'm not really like specific on where I want to go or anything, but just to have all these doors open, so the opportunity, the option to go abroad and like to go somewhere else and work, I think that's really important. You don't have to limit yourself to one place while you look for a job.
Yeah, Sara, you went to Canada when you were 4.
Yeah.
Tell me about this experience being raised abroad and then coming back to Egypt, or coming back and forth between Egypt and Canada. Tell me more about this experience.
Yeah, so as you said, I went when I was 4, so I was practically raised in Canada. However, my parents, they kept speaking to me in Arabic at home. Like, they insisted, even though it was kind of difficult for me to kind of be switching between languages every time I would go to school and come back. However, I think that's actually been more helpful. Like, I'm thankful for it now because I can now easily come to Egypt and speak with my friends and everything without any issues, or just interact with people normally. I don't have to worry about not understanding something, although obviously sometimes it's not super easy, but yeah, I just love coming here in the summer, especially when I grew up more. It was easier for me to find fun things to do, but before, when I was younger, it was a little bit more difficult because I couldn't do much on my own. So I'm actually really grateful that I got to experience both places so much.
Sara, you have a very special experience visiting several very important sites here in Egypt. You visited, I think, El Galala University, and you visited also maybe Abdin Palace, as you told me before. Tell me more about this experience, and what were the most interesting sites that you visited here in Egypt?
Honestly, I think the best part was getting an exclusive look at all these places. I feel very grateful that we got to kind of experience these things exclusively. So Galala University, it hadn't opened yet, and it's I'm not sure if it still has opened, to be fair, but that experience, just getting to know the level of education that they want to bring here in Cairo, and just in general, I think it was one of the best experiences. It was the turning point for me and a lot of people that went to the events to continue to want to come. And I think it was really encouraging. As you said, Abdin Palace was also incredible. It was, we got a tour of basically the entire place, and it was amazing. It was like a museum.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, there was also a lot of places. There was Wadi Degla,
Yeah.
and wow, okay, I can't really name them now, but yeah, there was just like, it's just kind of insane to kind of be able to see all these things with the ministry. Like, you wouldn't really believe, like, it wasn't in my plan to do these events, or I didn't even really know about it until I came 2 years ago in the summer, and I'm really happy that I decided to go.
Sarah, being brought up, I mean, between two cultures, Egypt and Canada, how did this affect you, and how do you see the difference in cultures? Which culture did you adapt more to?
So, just being brought up in Canada, I think it was a bit different, I think, because Canada is such a culturally diverse place. So it's not like I grew up just in the midst, just like alone. I didn't feel alone. There was a lot of Egyptians there. There was a big Egyptian community. And I didn't feel like I was struggling when I came here for both cultures. Of course, there are definitely some cultural differences, just like culture shock here, obviously, when you come from Canada. But I think I balanced them out pretty well. Like, I feel like I'm able to take the good things from both cultures and just kind of combine them in how I behave or interact or just kind of carry myself. So I think that was kind of my experience with it.
Sarah, you have several hobbies, skiing, skating, and tell me more about your hobbies and interests.
Yeah, so growing up in Canada, it's kind of a unwritten rule that you should know how to skate and ski. So you should learn that from a very young age. It's part of the most fun activities you can do in such a snowy country. So I particularly enjoy ice skating. I think it's one of my favorite sports and like one of the only sports I like to do. Other than that, I love reading. So I recently went back to Canada in the last few months, and for some reason I just found a lot of quiet time, and I managed to read about 10 books in that span of time. I just really enjoy reading, and finding the time to do it has been hard for a while, and so I really took that time to kind of, you know, read, yeah. Need a new bookshelf at this point.
What type of reading do you like?
So I like to read just like fiction. So any story that I like read the summary and I find interesting, I just begin reading. Also a few autobiographies, depending on what they are. It could be really interesting to me.
So you read 10 books. Which one was the most interesting to you?
Oh, okay. So let's see. So I read this book called The Midnight Library, and it's about this woman who took up a lot of things in her life, and at some point she felt like she felt really depressed and she wanted to die, but then she gets taken to this midnight library where every time she opens a book, it takes her into a life that she could have chosen if she hadn't, you know, decided to say no to it. And it shows her what her life could have been. And the librarian tells her that if she likes a life, she can stay there instead of going to the afterlife. But she doesn't end up liking anything perfectly, but she wants to go back to her old life. So it's kind of a look into how we look back on things and say we should have done this, we should have done that, but really it's just to to realize that the life they have now is kind of what you're meant for, and you can improve it and make it better. And there are circumstances for other people that you might not see in your brain, and like reasons why these people haven't talked to you or missed your call, or why your life it is the way it is now. But really, you just want to improve the current life you have, not completely alter it.
Yeah, so interesting.
Yeah.
So, do you think that reading adds an experience to you at this age?
I think reading is a lost art in the age of social media. I think it's important to read. I think it's important to improve. In general, I don't read for I read for pleasure. Like, I don't read to learn anything specific, but it does help you improve in your writing. It does help improve in your communication. I think it's a really important thing to take up, and it is really interesting, and it helps with your imagination. And it's like watching a movie, but instead of watching pictures move around, you're just kind of reading the words instead and coming up with your own conclusions.
Yeah. Right, we're going to go to this short break and we'll be right back.
أحلم بالدنيا اللي مفيش فيها كره وغل، الشمس بتطلع فيها تنور قلب الكل.
الحب يكون هو لغتها والناس تستمتع بحياتها،
والخير يزيد ويفيض ويغطي حدود الأرض.
I dream a world where no one hates to hold a grudge.
Da fosto io una fotisi tognalo,
Dove si vive per l'amore che riempie il tempo di colore.
любить и жить то, что дается свыше нам.
نحلم بالدنيا اللي يعيش فيها ناس في سلام، ناس يفكروا في المستقبل يشوفوا القدام.
الحلم بيلمع بعيونهم، مو فارقة لونهم ولا دينهم،
ناس قابلين كل اختلافاتهم عايشين مع بعض.
نحلم بمكان الحب بيطرح فيه ويملى، نحلم بمكان فيه كل اللي احنا بنتمناه،
وما نتحككش بأي ظروف، ونعيش من غير إحساس الخوف، مع عالم واحد كل الناس بتعيش جواه.
I dream of a world where love stays everything we do. I dream of a world where everything we hope comes true.
No obstacles will stand our way, no doubt or fear to chase away. One world that does not think in terms of me and you.
De braços dados e brilho em cada olhar, sorrindo juntos nós podemos ir além.
감고 상상해봐요. 모두 따뜻한 세상.
Novo mundo orientado para o bem.
كلنا جايين من نفس الأب ونفس الأم،
من حواء ومن آدم من الآخر نفس الدم. هي حقيقة ولازم نرضى.
كلنا راكبين مركب واحدة،
أكيد رايحين نوصل مع بعض البر أمان.
ख्वाब दुनिया का जहां चैन अमन, हर किसी का कल खिला हो जैसे महका चमन.
Tulivyoshikana siku za kale, kwa nini tena tutenganishwe? Tamani dunia yaliyo na umoja. I dream of a world where love steals everything we do. I dream ونعيش من غير إحساس الخوف مع عالم واحد كل الناس
بتعيش جواه.
Welcome back. I'm still with my guest, Sarah Michelle. She's telling us more about her experience being raised between two different cultures, her hobbies and her interests. Sarah, continuing talking about your hobbies and reading and skating, what other hobbies do you love and you are willing to continue with?
I like drawing. I sometimes draw in my free time. It's nothing special. I don't think I have like a talent for it or anything, but I think it's good to just kind of, if you like something, to try it out at least. So I do like to draw. It's a very common one, but I do like my like movie nights and my TV shows. I'm very passionate about these things, and I watch a lot of things, and I think that's mostly it.
So you like watching movies, and tell me, what type of movies do you watch? Do you watch Egyptian movies or?
I watch the older Egyptian movies, but
Black and white movies?
No, like 2000s, kind of early 2000s movies. And in terms of like English, I do watch everything. Like in terms of genre, I don't really like nitpick, but one thing I do tend to stay away from just a little bit is horror, just because I'm a little bit scared. But other than that, I watch everything. It's fine.
Right. We were talking about reading and, of course, the importance of reading and how far does it add experience. How do you see social media also? Do you think that social media is now more popular than reading, book reading?
Oh yeah, 100%. Like social media is everyone's world. Like we're all kind of we all like to go on our phones. We all like to show people what we do. We don't know if they care, but we like to believe that they do. I think it's not a bad thing, social media per se, but it can be used more positively than it is now. I think it takes away from just the more natural things like going outside and you know, like reading, obviously. But even now, you can read on your phone, right? So. But social media, I think some people actually do like using it. Some people don't use it correctly. Some people use it correctly. It's a bit of a hot topic, you know. But I think everyone has their view on it.
You said something very interesting, that it could be used. I mean, social media could be used more positively. How is that?
So just like spreading awareness about current events, about like things that in the news that maybe shouldn't be on the news, or like things that aren't right that are happening in the world, or you know, just environmental awareness, economic awareness, just like anything happening in the world. I think it's more important to kind of spread that around more than anything. Of course, like social media should be used for fun. Also, it's part of why it's made. But I think just putting in a little bit more awareness of what's going on worldwide is also very important. It's a reality check.
If we compare social media to the traditional media, the TV and the radio and the written, I mean, journalism, tell me what's the comparison? Which is more interesting to you?
I think social media is more interesting to me, just because journalism, it's a bit tricky. You see, you hear something, you hear a rumor, or you get a source that says something, and journalists print it out, and you know, you hear something about a celebrity, you hear something about a political figure, and suddenly it's all over social media, and within 20 minutes, and you're not sure where the truth is. And I think that journalism, it's kind of like that, like on the internet or regular media in general. I think social media is just more people talking about it, so sometimes there is more information. So social media is good that there's more like opinions like of people going on about, you know, they could have more inside information, or they could tell you, oh, this is actually like not true, or you know, wait to hear from the source. I think it's more important to check your facts in either case, but you know.
a lot has been going here in Egypt with regards to youth. A lot of attention has been given to youth by the Egyptian leadership. We have the presidential leadership program. We have also a lot of conferences dedicated to the youth conferences, the International Youth Forum. How do you see the significance of gathering youth from different countries, from different cultures in one place? How far does this have a positive impact on youth, in your opinion?
I think it's important to for youth to meet and relate to each other and make connections and, you know, just have each other's back. You know, kind of, if you go somewhere, you can connect with these people when you're there. You can rely on them, and, you know, vice versa. And it's important to just kind of know what everyone's going through, or they're going the same things as you, get some tips on how to do things differently, or maybe think about what you want to do with yourself as well.
Right. Since you're studying business and economics, tell me your opinion. How do you see the world economy nowadays, and specifically after the current events that taking place around the world, like the Russia-Ukraine war and so on? How does such events affect world economy?
So just based on everything that's going on, so COVID and obviously like the war with Ukraine and Russia.
And the COVID, of course.
Yeah, so I think everything with COVID is kind of like countries are starting to kind of get their groove back. So coming back to normal just a little bit in terms of that. But you're also seeing a lot of people struggling with, you know, there was a part of it where you're like staying home and you're doing schoolwork, and now you have to go out and go to work instead of doing your work at home or going to university, like fully like getting up and getting ready. And I think there's some positivity to that, because we do want to get up and get ready, but I think it's really hard to go back to normal for everyone. So people who are working, students, everyone, it's really hard to go back to a certain time where what was normal for you. And in terms of the economy, I think just politically around the world, something's going on, and I think it's affecting how everything is being done. You feel like there is a shortage of everything everywhere, and it's taking months for that shortage to stop. And I think with just like normal things, like you're going shopping for something and it's been sold out for 4 months, which is not really possible, right? Because you're supposed to get stock continuously. And I think that's something that's going on like worldwide. When I was in Canada, it was happening, and I've listened to people that I know around talk about it. It's not really, I think we're heading into a little bit of a difficult patch, but hopefully we'll come back stronger once things normalize a little bit more. Because after, even with COVID, there were issues with the economy, and now there's again issues with the economy. So it's kind of like a double hit right now. So we kind of just need to work through and think a little bit more smart about how we want to spend our money, and what are the most important things to take care of at this moment in time.
Right. Sara, finally, what's a message that you would like to send to the youth from your place here?
I mean, stay strong. It's a tough time we're going through, but I think you're all kind of staying positive, right? You're all traveling around, so, you know, have fun and just try to enjoy being young while you can, because the world is kind of a bit on the ice right now.
Right. Well, I would like to thank you very much, Sara Michelle, international business student. All the best of luck. And dear viewers, with this we come to the end of this edition of Today's Youth. Don't forget to join us next week, same time. Till then, it's goodbye.